Hey, I'm Clippy, and one of the things that makes each era of WoW unique, and is also the first introduction to that, is the login screen. Throughout the years, we've had some great login screens and some stinkers, and in this video what I want to do is rank them from worst to best. These videos are of course just my opinion, so if you disagree, well then you're wrong, because everyone knows that my opinions are facts. So let's start off with the worst login screen, and it's actually pretty recent, because the worst login screen in WoW is the War Within pre-patch login screen. It looks like it would be the backside of a Hearthstone card or something, which if it was that, it would look very cool. But it's not that, and it's just very boring and very plain. I do like the design and the colors, but there's just nothing here. When this first came out, we weren't really certain if this was the final version of it, which thankfully it is not. There was some speculation, and I thought it'd be cool as well if throughout the expansion the login screen changed and kind of got more cracked and more open. That would be something we haven't seen before, this dynamically changing login screen as the expansion goes on. But that didn't happen, and we just had this for about a month, I think it was, maybe a month and a half. And it was just not great. I don't know why they did it. So that's why it holds the last place spot for worst login screens of all time. Following that though, just a little bit better, but not a whole lot, we have Battle for Azeroth. This login screen is incredibly disappointing considering all the great things they could have done, whether it was something more war-based between Alliance versus Horde, or giving us some hints of the old gods and making it a little bit more interesting. All it is just a hill with some equipment on it. The one thing that's always bothered me specifically is the Alliance flag on the top right corner. It always distracts me because of how out of focus it is, and it just looks like there's something obstructing my vision. The wall in the background isn't anything interesting either. There's not any defenses, there's no soldiers, there's nothing on this wall. Just anything would have been interesting, like some blood even, or like a flag, or some soldiers in the background, like anything to spice this up. Overall, it's very disappointing. The only redeeming quality is the music though. That is terrific. It's very epic, and it feels like an adventurous twist on the original login music. After BFA, we have the expansion that many people agree is one of, if not the best of all time. And despite its reputation there, the login screen from Legion is just not great. This was really disappointing. It definitely feels like an homage to the Burning Crusade login screen, but it's just very poorly done. The green Legion portal in the center just doesn't do it for me. It's nowhere near the epicness of the Dark Portal. The two Legion guards on the sides do not look cool. I know the hooded figures on the Dark Portal screens aren't really detailed or anything like that, but they're mysterious and a little bit intimidating. They really feel like a big deal, and these guys just don't. You've got the Argus sky in the background, which is okay, I guess. It's definitely reminiscent of Outlands and Hellfire Peninsula. Overall, this is just not good. The building structure is just nothing interesting. The bones in the corner don't really add anything. The chains from the pillars and the pillars themselves are just kind of there. It doesn't really give the feeling of a Legion invasion, unfortunately. Before we get to the next expansion, I'm curious of what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my list so far? And if you were making this list, how would you do it? What's the best? What's the worst? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. After Legion, we're going to go back to present day and go with the War Within's actual launch login screen. It's certainly an improvement over pre-patch, but still not that great. I do like the rotating ring and the way that the light is kind of pulsing out of it. Dornegal looks pretty cool within the portal, and I really like the blue color. I think it fits really nicely with the rest of the scene. But it kind of feels like I'm looking into a ball and about to be shown Christmas past or Christmas future. The music here in general is terrific, but my favorite is the way that the violins, I think, and the rest of the song build up into this epic section. This is by far my most favorite music of all the login screens. It's just so freaking cool and heroic and legitimately gets me hyped up and excited. That build up is just fantastic. And then speaking of fantastic, what is a little bit more fantastic than the War Within's login screen is Dragonflight. This one kind of reminds me of Pandaria a little bit. I do like the presentation of Tierhold with the heavy clouds, waterfalls, and beam of light, which that kind of reminds me of the cover of Conan the Barbarian for some reason. Alexstrasza being up on the pillar then flying down looks nice, but overall it's not really that great. I think the scene overall just has too much architecture, most of which isn't really that cool looking. It's just a lot of pillars and stuff. The music here is great though, and I love it when it kicks into the dragon riding music. I love that section of the piece, and as weird as it sounds, it makes me feel like I'm riding on a dragon with the breeze blowing through my hair. It's very epic. And speaking of epic, that's one of the words people use to describe Deathwing. So next up is the Cataclysm login screen. Deathwing sitting atop Stormwind looking over menacingly at the citizens of Stormwind is kinda cool, especially when you get to see the scale of the dragon. I like when he looks around at some points, making it look like he's actually looking at you. It kind of feels like I'm looking at the boss just before the boss fight itself. Like I'm going to pull him and he's going to step down off the building into Stormwind and just cause a whole bunch of damage, which that would have been a lot cooler than what we got, but whatever. But overall, I'm not a big fan of this compared to its predecessors at the time. It just leaves a lot to be desired. I think it's weird to use the word bland when I haven't even touched on any of the Dark Portal login screens yet, because they don't really have a lot going on, but this one is just disinteresting. And with the fires and everything, it also reminds me of Stratholme, which I don't particularly enjoy. And then unlike the other screens, the login music is also not great. It just doesn't really give that epic feel that the others do and doesn't really fit with what we're looking at or what the expansion storyline was. It eventually goes back into a rendition of the original with some new elements, but I just feel like those additional elements almost detract rather than add to the song. But if you wanted to add something into my life, I would really appreciate it if you liked this video, if you are actually enjoying it. It does help me out, and it is a metric that I do actually use to see whether or not people are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And just like that, we are halfway done. We're nearing the top of the rankings, but what just missed out on the number 5 position is the 6th best login screen, which belongs to Warlords of Draenor. We head back to the Burning Crusade portal just without as many markings as it did back then. I love the red portal and the way it booms into place and then the way it continues to kind of pulse with energy. I think the look of it is really cool as well. It looks like hellfire surrounding a cosmic image within the portal. I think the 2 pillars on the sides throwing whatever green energy they have into the portal was a great addition because without them, this might have been a little bit lacking and too close of a resemblance to BC with just a different color palette. I also like that the 2 hooded figures have the green gem on their sword as well. It adds just a small difference that separates this from Classic and BC. The music here is also very good. It has that horde chanting infused with a rendition of the original music. It sounds very epic. But if we're going to be talking about epic, we have to talk about the top 5. The next expansion, which I wasn't sure if I wanted to put this at 5 or 6, but it does make the top 5. The next best login screen comes from Mists of Pandaria. But it's weird though because I'm a little bit torn on this because the scene does feel kind of lackluster because it's just the big Mogu statues from the Valley of Eternal Blossoms. But it also kind of looks pretty epic. I like the bright colors of this login screen, which compared to the expansions before this one, they were all dark, so that was a nice change of pace. I especially like the yellow trees in the foreground. I think they look very nice. The music has a pretty cool and chill intro before it booms into the original song, and it's just so epic. I also like the way it goes into the mop era style of music after a bit. It really has that big open world full of whimsical exploration feeling to it. But again, it's just kind of bland. So I'm surprising myself by putting it so high up, but at the same time, I'm like, no, it deserves to be up here. It's just not as flashy as some of the other login screens, so I don't know. I think it's deserving, but you ask me again in a week, maybe I won't. But what is definitely deserving of its number 4 spot in this list is the classic World of Warcraft login screen. It's just timeless. I love the use of the dark portal and the imagery inside of the portal. The background and the vibe in general is just foreboding, but also welcoming. Legends of Azeroth is legendary and has been used as a starting point with every expansion when it comes to the login screen music. If you've been watching this far, you've heard me talk about it multiple times, and it's just such a good song. It's heroic, it's catchy, and still to this day, I will hum it when I'm just out doing stuff. There's not really a whole lot to say about this login screen though, it just looks great and it is timeless, like I said. It's timeless, similar to how subscribing to this channel is timeless. If you're not already subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would, because I'm trying to get to 100k, and if you like this video or any of my others, it would mean a lot to me if you would at least consider it. If you're already subscribed though, I really appreciate you, thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying your stay. And now we come to the top 3. If you've been keeping score, you know what we've got left. And the number 3 spot goes to Wrath of the Lich King. These were the good old days of trying to log in before Sindragosa roared at you. This is a great login screen. It really sets the stage for the epicness that was this expansion before you even sign in. You've got the menacing sight of Icecrown Citadel in the background with other similar structures filling out the foreground. You've got the mountain peaks of the zone reaching up into the intimidating blue, gray, green skies, capped off with a really cool snowfall effect. It just really sets the vibe. And the music here gets a nice peaceful little intro before it goes into the classic song with almost like a church-like choir added to it. It sounds very nice. And then there were two login screens fighting head to head to figure out which one is the best of all time. Which means that the runner-up, the second best login screen of all time, is the Burning Crusade. This login screen fills me with so much nostalgia because this is my era. This is when I started playing. If you watch my mount ranking guide, you know that I love Felfire, and the green portal and the eyes remind me of that. I love that Hellfire Peninsula was used as a backdrop. It still has one of the most gorgeous skies in the game. And I love that this is an homage to Classic while still being original. I love the imagery on the Dark Portal as well, and the dragon that's on top. Compared to Classic 2, this music gets a very huge upgrade to feel more epic. The addition of the choir here really makes it feel massive and almost Star Wars-like. And then there was one expansion to rule them all. The best login screen in WoW, as far as I'm concerned, belongs to Shadowlands, the worst expansion ever. It is incredible, this login screen. You've got the hero shot of the Icecrown Citadel with the dragon skulls up close, and then the Citadel in all of its evil glory in the background just looming over us. The splintered sky with the shadow of the Citadel looks amazing. I love the way the brighter orange color on the top half complements the darker blues on the bottom half. And the way that the sky has its pieces going up, it just looks fantastic. If I forget everything I know about Shadowlands and I just see this login screen, I'm beyond intrigued and excited to see what this is all about. Like when you look at this scene, it truly feels like this is the ultimate showdown at the end of this incredible trilogy. This is such an epic shot, just so perfect. I have no notes, fantastic. It's just really unfortunate what happened with the actual expansion itself. But that is how I would rank all of the login screens in WoW. Let me know if you agree or disagree and how you would change this list if you were to make it. And if you like this video, you might also like the video that I made ranking all the box art in WoW from worst to best. Click the video that's on screen now to watch that. Thanks for coming, I love you lots, bye.